Well, hey everybody, it's Doug Rucker here with DougRuckerSchool.com and DougRuckerStore.com. We've been selling quite a few of the FlowPro remote downstream systems, and so just kind of wanted to go over that, do a little unboxing, and have had quite a few questions about these. I get emailed or texted, so just thought I'd kind of make a video of what comes with it, how to set it up, what it looks like on our truck and all of that. So, FlowPro remote coming up next. Okay guys, so first I thought I'd go over what you actually get in the box or in the package when you get this delivered. You will get everything pretty much in a bag like this that has to do with the FlowPro remote system. And so you're going to get the box, which is the remote box, has the computer, all of that stuff in it. Also inside it is, so be sure you open this up, is one of the remotes. You get two remotes with this system. So one is inside the box, and the other will be just loose inside the bag. And so that's that part. You've got the two little pieces here. One is going to go to the actual actuator valve, and then the other you're going to plug in to this cord here, and that's going to go to your battery for operating it off of your pressure washer battery. So you get those. There's your extra remote, and then you also get a little pouch that you can make and put your remote in it. Put a little lanyard so it goes around your neck, and then it's easy to operate the remote right from your chest there. I carry mine in my pocket, but a lot of guys use this, and whichever works best for you. But it is a very handy little item to have, and so you get that as well. Also, you get your detailed instructions on how to set this up, as well as the website where you'll want to go to for more information as well. These are made by and manufactured by Judd West out of FlowPro Solutions. I believe he's out of Georgia, Valdosta, Georgia, or something like that. And great guy, been involved in the industry for many years, and customer service is just excellent, second to none. So that's one thing that you can count on if you ever have a problem with one of these. You can certainly come to me, but between myself and Judd, we're going to get you fixed up if you do have a problem. I've never had a problem yet on one of these. Actually, I did have one little problem. I think that was my problem. That was a user error, but Judd took care of it very quickly. We had one of the pieces we pulled apart wrong, one of the connectors. I think we pulled the part wrong and may have damaged it. But anyway, he took care of me, and so I certainly appreciate that. So that's what you get in the bag. And again, this is the guts, really the guts of it besides the box. This is the actuator valve, and basically what this has in it is a ball valve like we use. The DN10 ball valve is actually right here. So your bypass injector kit, and I'm going to show you how you do that, is going to hook up right here. And this is the valve that turns back and forth to take you from rinse to your bleach mix. So, and one of the ends, this end here, is going to plug into this. Like I said, well, it's actually this end here. One of these ends is going to plug into here. This one here. This one here, again, is going to plug into this little adapter, and then you're going to run this over to your battery. So basically it's going to look like that once it's kind of hooked up, but we'll go over showing you, I'll go over showing you the how to actually hook up your bypass injector and all of that coming up next. Okay guys, when you're going to hook one of these FlowPro remote systems up, it's basically you've got to have one of these bypass injector setups. You've got to have basically the parts to it so that you can build one. This is the normal bypass injector kit, and so when the water is coming across this way, as the water comes in from here, that's how mine is orientated, and this valve is closed, the water comes across the downstream injector, picks up the solution from the siphon tube that's into your bucket or your tank, and then comes on down to your hose. And the reason it does that is because this injector, the arrows on it are pointing this way, which is towards the gun. As you see, like I've taught you guys before, on all of my setups, the plug points the way of the water flow. So off my machine is a plug that this would hook into. Water comes across this way, picks up through the injector. I just happen to have a little check valve on here as well. And then out here on down to the gun. And so if you want to go from your bleach mix to your rinse, you would have to walk over, turn this ball valve, and then the water is going to come and go down this way, down the loop, and then back up and out that way. So it's bypassing the injector. That's why it's called a downstream bypass injector. So that's basically how that works. So this is the manual style. So if you've got this hooked on your machine, you've got to walk back and forth to the truck to turn this, to turn your bleach and your water flow off. The beauty of one of these bypass downstream injectors is, like this setup, is when you turn the water to rinse, you're not losing any pressure or flow caused by the inline injector. And so that's why you have a setup built like this, so that you don't get that loss of pressure or loss of flow, minute as it is, if you want to go, when you go to rinsing or whatever, or go to a surface cleaner, you don't lose that loss, you don't lose that pressure and that flow. So when you get your FlowPro system, you've got this valve. This is the actuating valve that turns the ball valve on and off. And so basically all you're doing is replacing this ball valve with this. And so that's where it would go, is right in line with that ball valve. So you take this ball valve out, you put this in, connect it here, and so then you've got the system to where you can operate it with a remote to turn this valve right here, instead of having to walk over and do that. So it just saves you a ton of time by being able to be on the job and be on the back of a house and just hit your remote button, rinse, mix, whatever, and not have to walk back and forth to the truck. So the way I have mine set up is it's set up just like this. Okay, I'm hoping you guys can see this good, but this is the whole setup, and I'll take some pictures of it to show you as well. But what I do is I have quick connect fittings all through here, so it's easy to put the injector in and out, take the injector out if I need to, and put another one in if the injector goes bad or for whatever reason. So here's the injector here. I've got it on quick connect, so it would go just like that. And then this piece goes here, and then that's how it's set up to operate. So when the water is coming across, just like I showed you before, and the valve is closed, then the water is going to go across here. It's going to pick up the bleach mix. Depending on, of course, the nozzle that you're using. If you're using a chemical applicator type nozzle, you basically have to have one that's going to lower the PSI of the machine, like the black nozzle that comes with most pressure washers, or your soap applicator nozzles if you have a J-rod setup. And so when you hit the button to go to rinse, it closes the valve and the water is going to go down this way, bypassing the injector. And the beauty of this system, again, is every time you go back and forth, you're not losing any pressure or flow, okay? And so that's how mine is set up. And so that's how mine looks, just like that. You got the bypass hose, and I'm going to actually take it out to my truck a little bit and show it to you how it looks on the truck. But that's basically how it looks when it's set up. So you can see the manual style like this that I just showed you. That's what it looks like. And then you've got this piece, which has the FlowPro on it, and then you would just have your dip tube here, your siphon hose that goes to a bucket or to a tank. And again, I'll show you mine in a little bit out in the truck. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching today. Got a little bit more coming up about the FlowPro here in a minute, but just want to remind you to make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the bell so you get notifications, leave me a comment, ask a question. If there's something I can help you with, be glad to. Don't forget about my online video school, pressurecleaningschool.com. You can get information there about that, as well as our next hands-on training. We just had 10 guys here this week from across the United States and also locally here in Houston. But the next one for that is coming up February 14th and 15th. pressurecleaningschool.com/events. You can go there to read all about that and find out information. Love to have you out here. But thank you again so much for watching. And again, if I can help in any way, please don't hesitate to ask. Okay guys, if you're ordering one of these FlowPros and you do not have a bypass injector, on our website you can actually order just a downstream bypass injector like this. You'll have to pay for the whole setup because we don't break the pieces out, but you'll just have an extra ball valve here which everybody can use. But so you can order it like this. And you'll get all the pieces, and I would suggest just ordering it DIY, and you can just put it together yourself, and you can see how all the fittings, the T's go, your plugs and your couplers. And this is a little swivel piece here that makes this easier to take off if you don't want to do the quick connects like I do. Then you can put a wrench right here. This will spin and loosen, and then this will come apart right here, and then you can take the rest of the injector off here to replace the injector. So all you would do when you're building it is, instead of using the ball valve that it comes with, you would just insert this here, attach the bottom first, and then attach your T up at the top. And so that would be the simplest, easy way if you don't already have a bypass injector. If you do already have one, then it's just a matter of taking this ball valve out and inserting this right there, and you're good to go. If you want to do it the way I do it, then you're going to have to get a few more pieces. And so you basically order the same bypass injector kit, but you're just going to order a few more of the male pipe thread couplers and plugs so that you can insert your downstream injector. I think you're going to need, it looks like you would need, so the extra pieces that you would need would be basically, you wouldn't be getting that the swivel piece, you would just get more couplers. So you get another plug here, another coupler here, which is actually for your injector. It's actually a female, and then another female plug here, and then you need two more male, a plug and a coupler and a plug, and then you can just hook it up the way I do. This is just easier for me to take because we actually take ours off of our truck every time, and I'm going to show you that in a little bit, why we do that and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of people just leave this on their truck. And so if you do, you really don't have to have all of this. You can just get by with this. And then if the injector happens to go bad, you can easily replace the injector off of that. It takes only about 5 minutes. But that's the pieces and the setup that you would need if you do it the way I do it. So next we'll go out to the truck and we'll show you how we got mine set up. Okay guys, so I actually decided to bring the truck inside because it's kind of cold outside today. It's down in the 30s here in Houston. That's kind of cold for me. So just brought the truck inside to show you guys how I have mine, my FlowPro set up. This is on our utility service body truck. And so basically what we did is we mounted the box right on the rail here using some threaded rod and a couple of those little vibration type things that you get with pressure washers when you're mounting a skid plate onto a trailer or truck or whatever. So we used a couple of those to kind of elevate it so that the door can open easily if we needed to open the door. Never really had to. But there's, like I said, a piece of threaded rod that goes up in here. We drilled a little hole, bolted it up there, and then bolted it underneath here. And then our electrical wiring actually goes down through the compartment here. And I'm trying to get the camera where you can see a little bit better. But anyway, it goes out, and then we've got a hole drilled over there, and it connects to the battery, which is right behind that hose reel. And that battery operates the electric hose reels, the pressure washer, and the FlowPro. So that's how we set ours up. Again, that's because this is a service body skid. If you've got a trailer, there actually is some little clips that come for the back of this that you also get in the bag that you can mount this box up on a trailer or anywhere that's going to work best for you. You just want to make sure you've got reach to your downstream injector or to the actual valve as well as to your battery. But it's very easy to mount. It comes with the hardware clips and all of that that you would need to do that mounting. Okay guys, so when we get to the job site and we're going to get set up using the FlowPro, the first thing that we do after, of course, we've determined with the customer that they don't need to move their car or anything and we're getting ready to roll out our hoses and all that, the very first thing we do is we'll go ahead and hook up the FlowPro valve, and we'll get that hooked up to the lead fitting coming off of the pressure washer, which in my case, I've always told you guys, is always the plug. For me, the plug points the way of the water. And so then we take our downstream injector, which is already on a hose like this, and then we hook that to the plug coming off of the valve there, and then we just take the loop, the other side, it goes here, and then we have our whip hose that comes from our hose reel, and it's going to plug right there. And so once we've hooked that up, then we're going to take the power source, which we keep kind of twirled around the top of the gas tank here, and we just get a little bit off of here. We plug this into the electric coming off of the valve, so it's just one little quick little snap like that. And so that's all hooked up. And so as soon as we do that, then we walk over to the FlowPro, and I'm going to show you what you have to do next. Okay, so once we've got the valve hooked up and the electric hooked up over there, we're going to come over to the actual remote box. There's a little toggle switch down underneath here. You want to turn that on, and then take your remote. On the side of the remote is a button that actually supplies power to the remote. Turn that on, hit your rinse button, and that light will start flashing, and then just walk away and start doing your setup. Roll your hoses out, get your water filling your tank. What you need to what has to happen is this needs to power, it needs to actuate that valve over there for at least a minute before you start using it. So we just do it during the setup process. That's the first thing that we do. Once we've got that light blinking like that, we are good to go after about a minute or so. Get going on the job, and then you just use the button here to go from rinse to mix. And so if I hit the mix button, you actually can hear the remote beep, meaning it's made contact with the valve, and it will switch over. And so let me put the remote by the microphone, maybe you can hear it. You hear that little beep? That's telling you if you're on the back side of a house and you can't see the light. And I've never even paid attention to the light, by the way. I just always listen for the little sound on a remote, and then I know that the remote's doing, or the valve is doing its thing going back and forth. So one other thing I want to show you on our setup that I did. So let me go show you that right now. Okay, so one of the things that I did on mine, not a lot of people do this, some do it, some don't, but I actually hooked up a little three-way poly valve to it, and so the bottom portion is coming off, of course, going to the injector. One side here, this side here is going to the bleach tank, and so that draws the bleach out when I call for it. When I go to rinse, it just draws water or bypasses, so it's only flowing water. And then this side I actually hooked to the water tank. And the only reason I did that was so that at the end of the day, when we're done, I want to rinse my downstream injector out that's over here. Right here. So I want to rinse that downstream injector out with water. And so all I have to do is take this valve and turn it this way. So now when I hit the mix button on my remote, it's drawing water from the water tank only, and it's going to take the water across that downstream injector, and it's going to rinse it out. Just helps the injector last a little bit longer. A lot of guys don't do that. They just have it set up because these injectors are so cheap and they eventually fail anyway. They'll just replace the injector, not rinse it out or whatever. But I just do it this way. I just like it that way so that I can rinse my injector out and help them last a little bit longer. And again, don't forget, we talked about the check valve that I have on here. That just helps us to get a little bit stronger mix. They advertise that it'll get you up to a 20% mix, but who knows? I don't really do bucket tests and things of that nature, but it is a little bit stronger, and so that always helps. So that's basically it on the FlowPro, how you set it up, what it is, how we use it. It is an awesome thing to have. They run about 600 bucks. I know that seems like a lot of money, but gosh, it saves you a ton of time. And also, in a lot of cases, it's just like having another employee there, because your employee, if you had an employee, one of his jobs might be to run back and forth to the truck to turn the ball valve. So you're going to make your time back up on using one of these in no time at all. It's not going to wear you out running back and forth to the truck. And the beauty of the FlowPro also is you're not losing any pressure or flow when you're going back from bleach to rinse. Now, one of the things that you can always do if you can't afford one of these, you can always just use the J-rod nozzle for your machine, for the gallon per minute of the machine. As I've talked to you guys before, these two nozzles here on the end that have the smaller holes, those will close off the injector and cause it not to draw your bleach. But you have to remember that these are a little bit higher pressure than these two. These are called the chemical applicator tips. That's your soap high, soap low tips. So I like applying with that nozzle. That's an 0060 for my 8 gallon per minute machine. I like to be able to apply up high with that nozzle and then be able to rinse with that nozzle. And that's what the remote allows me to do, because I can apply my bleach mix up to a 2 or 3 story building, then hit the remote, draw water only, and rinse with that nozzle as well. If I were to use this nozzle, it's like a 0 red tip. And that's just a ton of mist, and it takes forever and doesn't rinse as well. So you can always do that, but it's better to be able to apply and rinse. As a matter of fact, these are the only 3 tips I ever use right there. So that's one way to do it, but it's always easier and much faster and more productive to have one of these remote controls, or use the manual bypass that we were talking about before, so that you can use these higher flow nozzles to rinse. Okay, hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, and that's the same thing again too, guys, on these nozzles, these variable adjustable X-jet nozzles, which you can twist when you're downstreaming and go from a shooter to a wide fan. That allows you, the remote allows you to do the same thing with this. You can apply and rinse with this same nozzle using a remote control without having to go back to the truck. Otherwise, like I said, you have to go back to the manual ball valve and go back and forth and switch it. So just so much easier to be able to apply and rinse with the higher flow nozzles. So hope that helps you guys. If you have any questions, please ask, leave me a comment, leave me a question. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if we can help you in any way. And also hit that bell. That gives you notifications every time I come out with a video. Hope Hope you guys have an awesome, awesome day.